So a real recent example is the 2022 NHL draft.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
this is my
this is what I'm
favorite.
talking about, hype, and this is starting to get a little bit more relatable to kids, because if you take the NHL draft and then the OHL, CHL draft, and then you go the prospects and the scouting and all the blogs and all the stuff that's out there for kids, this is actually really real. So the 2022 draft, you got a great hockey player by the name of Shane Wright. Okay, great hockey player. I don't You don't have to like him, you don't have to love him. You could think he's the best, whatever. It doesn't matter. Um, but what happened was he was overhyped by the media, right? The media are the ones that pegged him to go first overall. Okay, that's true. Um, so the media, because he was an exceptional status, and because he had a really good first year, he's going to be your first overall pick. There's your first overall pick, and they said it right up until draft day. There's maybe a little bit of questioning just before the draft, where we're like, oh, this Slavkovsky guy or whatever might go, it's a 1 and 2, and they're making big stories about this, and they ask questions like they did interviews about, how important is it for you to go number first overall? It's like, it's kind of a trick question, because if you look like, well, it's not a big deal. Like, in my opinion, I would have said, I don't do the picking, so if they pick me first, I'm first. If I pick me 10th, I'm 10th. It's nothing out of my hands. I played my best, right? But he's probably thinking with a lot of the hype that maybe he is going first overall. Whatever, doesn't matter. But that's what's being said. It's like major cameras on him all the time, and it's like, oh my God, he might not go first. What happened to him?
Yeah,
Right?
what happened?
But
Yeah.
that was the media that put him first overall. If you talk to individual scouts, like the Montreal Canadiens were under no obligation to take Shane Wright first overall, because TSN, Sportsnet, and TNT, whatever the networks are saying, he's the best player in the world, or Craig Button from TSN on his list, or Bob McKenzie on his list say, yeah, he's going to go first overall. So you're not the scout. You're not paying the guy. You got no skin in the game.
Well, and
right?
then on the back end of that, I remember while it was happening, again, going back to this is you coming from experience. I remember you saying to me, like, you're talking to actual scouts on the phone about him in particular, because the draft's coming up and it was a topic.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me explicitly, like, these guys would be like, yeah, like, we're not sure. We don't know if he's going to be first. We don't know. And that's coming from the source now. That's coming from the teams that are going to do the picking, right? So you watch, you turn on whatever channel and it's like, yeah, he's first. Yeah, he's first. Yeah, he's first. But then you're having the conversation with some of the teams in the background and they're like, yeah, we don't really know. It's hard to tell because, like, this guy's really good. This guy's really good. And it's not clear right now. But they're making it out to be like it's clear, and it's not clear, right? When you actually go to the source and talk to them, which you did,
Right.
So
yeah, I was several scouts like, I don't know, like, there's other guys, there's this, and it's like the guy didn't play like the year before, and then they're expecting, and then the other thing with the hype machine is they're people thinking first overall, and they build it so much like he has to be like Connor McDavid, but just because you're first overall doesn't mean you're Connor McDavid. There's only one. And now it's like Connor Bedard now. It's like he has to go first overall, and he probably will, right? But if he's not, I mean, some team didn't think that there was a better fit.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with hype.
Right.
Right?
I know.
So so the draft, and there's another thing, right? It's a media market, right? Like you don't need it, but it sells the game. I get that. So the draft's coming, and they got the camera going on each of them, sweating bullets, and that's what, even if you're going first overall, because Aaron, he's one of my clients. He went first overall, and they left him hanging a little bit. So Florida takes her the first pick, and they went, and he started laughing because he knew, but it's like you're still sweating bullets even though you know. So, anyways, they have the camera all over the place, and then they take. This is what I don't know if a lot of people notice this. They take Uri Slavkovsky, so that there's clapping. Then they show Shane Wright, like, and they're trying to say, look at how pissed and look at how disappointed he is, and what the heck's going on. Fans are booing. Like, you tell me what fan would know who the best hockey player in the world is? Have you scouted? Have you gone anywhere outside of the media to go and scout a hockey player? And you're booing your team because they didn't pick the guy that TSN or the Hockey News said should go first overall. You're
Well,
paying guys to do it.
do you remember on the news, like, seeing some of these Montreal fans that, like, already had their Shane Wright jerseys and
Oh, yeah.
whatever, like,
Yeah.
burning them, like,
Yeah.
lighting them on fire,
Yeah.
throwing them in the garbage,
Yeah.
snapping that they
Just
didn't take
losing
Shane
their
Wright?
shit.
It's, like,
Like,
so
who
funny.
did you scout this
Yeah,
year?
I know.
But this is what people follow, right?
Yeah.
And then they take it and they start making it like this is a huge deal. So he went 4th overall, guys. So that doesn't mean he's the 4th best. It means whatever.
Seattle.
No, what's the other teams
Montreal?
before? There was Montreal, Phoenix, and Chicago. I think it
Chicago.
was where they wanted someone else that would fit their team better.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean Shane Wright sucks. And he went 4th overall in the whole world.
Yeah.
Right? And if
Yeah.
Seattle picked first, maybe they would have taken him first. So it's like, and then to even make it more of a story, they have to interview Montreal why they didn't take him. And then when he was trying on his jersey, they said that he was staring at Montreal, giving them a glare. Like, just, I'm going to, it's like, no, he was putting on his jersey and his head tilted this way and his face looks like that. And it wasn't, and maybe he was upset with them, but I'm sure he wasn't looking at them as an 18-year-old kid. He was happy that he got drafted by the Seattle Kraken, and good for him and all that stuff. And they made a story about that. So that keeps coming out. He made a stare. So now he's got to explain, what are you talking about? I was glaring at them. And then I even got more to this. Then he's questioned whether he's going to make Seattle, which is the hardest jump in the whole world to make. So if you don't make the NHL at 18 years old, you're not shit, by the way.
Yeah.
You're actually a pretty good hockey player. He plays 10 games, blah, 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 blah. So then the hype machine ends with his first game back, or his first goal, whatever it was, his 10th game, final game, and whatever it was, after his conditioning stint, was in Montreal, and they called it the revenge game. Like, he's got so much revenge for him. It's like, honest to God, man, like, they make something out of nothing, right? So this guy's got to explain, like, either, yeah, I have revenge, or no, I don't. He's playing a freaking hockey game. He's just trying to play in the NHL. It's not about him showing the world Montreal made a mistake, and maybe he had that attitude, but you made a story out of nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah. What's funny that he
Did I go on for a while?
you did.
Yeah.
It was New Jersey, Arizona, or New Jersey, Arizona.
Oh,
by the way, on the draft. It was first was Montreal, New Jersey, Arizona, Seattle.
Back-to-back Slovakians. True? Nemec? Yeah.
And one two.
Slovaski?
Yeah. Nemec, then it was Cooley.
They had a good,
and then
Slovakians had a
Slovakia.
good year,
I know,
man.
seriously.